us already, and it just started. A couple of you have requested that I do to see a progress update with my Fallout power armor. And some of you have also requested to do like a cosplay workshop video where I'm just kind of whispering and working. So, that's what this video will be. I will do my best to make all of the sounds quiet and relaxing at a peaceful volume. But I will probably be cutting with scissors, both foam and paper. I will also be explaining a little bit about the program called Pepakura. It's a free program. Well, the viewer to view the files is free. To actually edit the files, you have to pay a license, but people use this program to make 3D models of things, and then you can print out all the pieces and kind of create them yourself. I'll also be talking about foam, which is a lot of times when you see like Halo armor or really amazing weaponry, a lot of people use foam for Halo armor because it's cheap and you can style it to look like anything, like wood, metal, plastic. Sorry, some background noise already. And so, this is one of the forearm pieces. There was a method. Now, as you can see. Okay, so I'm also going to use this video as a kind of warning to people. What I did was I took the Pepakura files for the Fallout power armor and really, as you see here, you're supposed to print them out on cardstock, which is this actual kind of paper right here. This is, I forget the weight. There's a specific weight of cardstock that you need. You can get it at like Staples or any of those stores. You actually make the entire thing with paper. You eventually will cover it in fiberglass and resin, and it looks amazing. However, I was trying to be cheap, and I wanted to see what it would be like to instead, well, I was cutting out these pieces and tracing them onto foam. So this is partially my fault. You really need to make clean edges, because if I try to paint this like the way it is, you're going to see these giant glue-filled gaps. Now, I should have used less glue. That is completely my fault. However, the physics of it is, these files were made to be printed on paper, and I'm transferring them to pieces I was originally using this thickness of foam, the thicker pieces. And you really cannot, even if you heat it and shape it, it's hard to get curves. So, I'll actually show you right now what the helmet looks like. I'm kind of embarrassed of it, and yet at the same time, I'm kind of glad that it's coming out a lot better than when I originally started. So, let's see. Okay, so I'm about to show you my Fallout mask, or my power armor helmet. Just try to bear in mind that this is really just the structure, the foundation of it. I'm going to be sealing this and then detailing it to look like one solid piece instead of a bunch of choppy and poorly glued together sections. Hopefully it'll look like one cohesive piece of armor. And again, don't mind all the glue. I was losing my mind. I redid this front section of the mask quite a few times. So, I think this part I hate the most. It just, but you can see clearly here, these pieces were meant for cardstock, not for foam. So you can see all the difficulties I've encountered trying to shape them, trying to get them to fit cohesively together and make the proper angles and sides. So again, I'm not telling you not to try it, to print these pieces and use foam instead of cardstock. However, just try to bear in mind that you need to make curves and angles, and it's not easy, especially when you're using foam that is this thick. But so this foam is called Eva foam. I'll show you. Eva foam is literally the giant puzzle pieces, the flooring you can buy for like a nursery. Many cosplayers use this. You can get, it's 2 foot by 2 foot, so you can get a 4-pack of these mats for like $18 at Home Depot. I think they sell them in other places too, possibly Lowe's. So. Patrolling the Mojave makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Anyway. So, I think the side looks better because the pieces are, there's less pieces. I'm not really happy with how the back came out, especially this part. So you see, trying to make like a curve. So, you take this thing, you can buy it at Michael's. It's a heat gun. It's phallic. Sorry. I just realized. Although it kind of looks like a giant crayon too. I wish I had a crayon this big. That would be so cool. So it's like I'm not going to turn it on because it's super loud. It's like a concentrated hair dryer. It shoots out very, very hot air, and the heat will allow you to shape the foam. So I'm creating the elbow pieces right now. So you just blast the foam with the hot air. Yeah, I'm a little glue happy, as you can tell. And you can get these nice curves. These came out a lot better because I used less glue. A lesson learned far too late. But yeah, so I already have I found the perfect plastic tube to snake through these ports, these little holes. He's missing a nostril right now. I'm gonna have to do this better. It was just go, you're basically walking. That's terrible. It's so frustrating because it's such a huge map, and I mean, at least in Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls, which is also a wonderful series, another RPG produced by Bethesda, or licensed by Bethesda, maybe I should say. You can ride horses, or you can at least run. I think that was really crazy of them to rule out the ability to run in Fallout. I mean, we run everywhere in Borderlands, and even that takes a long time because the map is so huge, but that's just my 2 cents. I think a video game company should hire me, and I've been playing for like 20-something years. I could really help them be like, oh wait, you know, you need to have this in the game, you need to give your players this option, or why don't you consider this? I think I would be really good to bring in as kind of a consultant. That would be a dream job to me, but anyway, so right now, one of the things I do, so you can use a knife to cut this. Let me see if I can find it. It's an X-Acto knife. You can get them at Michael's as well, and you can use these to cut the foam. However, I have a little trick, and it makes a lot cleaner edges because the human hand moves a lot, and I feel like you sometimes can't get a really clean cut. One thing you have to do is you always have to buy a lot of blades because the blades get worn down very quickly, and getting a clean cut is very important, especially for a suit of armor. I was actually using just regular, well, I think these are a really good pair of scissors. It's Fiskars. You can get this at Michael's too. Now, I actually use this just for cutting the foam, so I guess let's get started. I'm just gonna cut a few pieces. Okay, so you might not be able to see this as well. This is the elbow piece that I'm creating right now, if that helps. So the piece I'm creating right here is this one. This metal piece. So what I'm going to do is, it's kind of elevated, so I'm going to, this is the piece for it. So I'm actually going to use, so this is pretty thick foam, right? I've had a lot of trouble with it. This is craft foam. Now, this is called EVA foam. I forget the actual chemical composition that EVA stands for. Ethyl vinyl acetate. No. Yeah, I'm not sure. I will follow up on that though. So, this is craft foam. It's actually, for the amount you get, it's kind of expensive. These are like $1 a sheet, which, you know, I guess that's not that bad, but if you need a lot of it, you know, you buy 10 pieces, that's $10. So, again, not super expensive, but if you need to use a lot of it, it does add up pretty quickly. However, this is what I used. You can see the difference in the foam. This is a lot thinner, and I had such better luck getting it to bend and shaping it to the snout. When I tried to make the snout out of this, I was losing my mind. I was like in a rage. I was actually getting like clinically depressed. Like anytime I would try to work on the helmet, I would get really depressed because I was just so sad and frustrated with how much trouble I was having. So this I'm going to use as the this is... So, Maria had a nice video. Sorry. She went through her magic box, I think she called it, in the spa video that she made recently, and it had a ton of views. It had like 1.5 million views last I checked. It's one of my favorite videos of hers. So she goes through a similar box. This is my cosplay box. So now this I use for sewing. It's my little $1 sewing kit from Michaels. Most of my stuff is from Michaels, by the way. Got the pins, scissors, different color thread, lots of needles, pins, and extra glue sticks. This is my little emergency kit whenever I'm at a convention like New York Comic Con. These are important, especially when you're sanding foam. I had a dust mask that's also very important, and especially if you're working like with fiberglass or resin, you actually need a respirator. A dust mask will not protect you from the toxic fumes and particulates. This is my beloved trusty Dremel. Try to be quiet. This is my beat up, disgusting, dirty Dremel. And these are the bits that I use the most. I use this a lot for my Psycho Bandit axe. I don't need this yet because I'm not ready to start sanding. So this is kind of hanging out in this box for now. Then scraps of leather. Sorry, I realize I am in I'm in the path of the sunlight. So it might be hard to see. I'm sorry about that. So this is all my scraps of leather. This is actually what I used for my Psycho Bandit mask, the straps. So you can see I was practicing with the rivet gun. I think my rivet gun broke. I'm so sad. So this is a better example of Pepakura. So I am remaking my Sub-Zero mask out of Pepakura. And somebody's crying because I'm not paying attention to him. So I love these crinkly sounds. I hope you do too. This is really what Pepakura is. I can't tell you, it was only like 4 or 5 pages, but it was like 100 pieces. This was so ridiculous to cut out these little tiny ridges to maintain everything. It took like an hour a night to do 1 page of pieces. This is actually what Pepakura is. Cutting out the pieces on cardstock. This is the corner of my Sub-Zero mask, and I got so much super glue gel all over my fingers that I just gave up. I couldn't. It was so tedious. Oh my god. You really need a lot of patience, which unfortunately I need to work on that. But this is the gist of it. This was the one side of my Sub-Zero mask. So I had to cut out all these pieces. of the drill bits they give you already come with the Dremel when you buy it, but they get worn down pretty quickly, so it's nice to have extras. It's going to be super loud if I open it, so I'm going to bypass that for now. It's always good to have Elmer's glue. So when you are ready to detail and paint the Eva foam, you can actually, as a very cheap and quick sealer, you can dump a bunch of this glue, white school glue, Elmer's glue, and just dilute it with some water. I forget what it is, like 2 parts glue, 1 part water. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, but it's basically just white glue and and water mixed together. I forget the ratio, but you can just paint several layers over the foam, and it will seal the foam so you can paint it. If you don't seal the foam, it will just soak up the paint like a sponge and it won't dry. So it's important to seal the foam because it is porous. Mod Podge. You can actually use Mod Podge to seal too, if I'm not mistaken. Again, almost everything you've seen, aside from the actual Dremel tool, you can get at Michael's. This. So I use this to sculpt. I love this stuff. It tends to dry quickly, so as you're sculpting, I recommend keeping a cup of water next to you, and as long as you keep re-wetting the clay, you can continue to work with it. And, here, I'll show you 2 things I did. I love these guys. So, as you've probably seen in prior videos, Fallout and Bioshock are my 2 favorite games of all time. I'm completely obsessed with them in like an unhealthy way. So this is my little big daddy. He's so cute. I love him. I actually used for the wire just paper clips or this. I think I actually got this at Walmart too. This is coming pretty handy. It's just basic wire. Oh boy, and the big daddy. Okay. Oh, and 101 baby. I like his hair. His hair was actually really easy to do. Just take little turds of clay, for lack of a better term, and you just keep wetting everything, and you can really just kind of blend it together. Pretty nice, so it's really easy to work with. Oh wait, he goes perfectly with my shirt. Okay. Painter's tape is important, but I haven't really used it very much. Lots of sculpting tools and paintbrushes. Always important. It's also important to keep them clean. There's like 6-month-old clay stuck to half of this, but you can clean it pretty easily. And then I have just like random scraps, like elastic, belts, things like that. You never know when you're gonna need one. And then this wire mesh came in pretty handy for my Sub-Zero mask when you create the slots, or the slats I should say, in the mask, you will kind of have to put something in there like a zero mask eventually. So, it's funny, I realized, so I haven't actually gotten to working on anything yet. I love the sound this box makes, it's so nice. is my challenge with this phone. And, so, this is pretty much it in a nutshell. So I'm going to need a piece that same size, so really it's just a matter of tracing and cutting out. The pencil, I find, comes out a lot nicer than pen, because pen, the ink will eventually start to get absorbed into the foam, and it won't, you won't be able to really get those lines anymore. You won't be able to see them. It's simple. So, let's see how I can do this. So I could, in theory, cut it at an angle to give it a slope, diagonal slope. So anyway, I'm probably going to have to wrap this up shortly. It's getting really hot in here because I had to turn off the air conditioner, and I can't have the windows open because it's kind of loud outside. A lot of people coming and going, and just a lot of noises. People are starting to wake up now. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So, I'm thinking what I can do is kind of take this middle section. I'm going to create another piece. I'm gonna just give this a try. I'm not sure this is actually gonna work. Trial and error is how I learn. So that does kind of give a nice effect, however. I don't know if I'm satisfied with that, because it needs to kind of gently slope away, and this is just kind of a, a very short cut. So I'm not sure this is going to work the way I was hoping it would. What I might be able to do is a couple of stacks of these. That might work out better. I just kind of have to brainstorm my way through this sometimes now. If I was using the cardstock, they kind of lay out everything for you. I mean, it's up to you to do the angles, and, this is a very persistent challenge I've been facing, especially with this piece. It took a long time to get the snout still isn't even right. It's supposed to kind of press inward a little bit. It's supposed to really be like that. So I'm gonna have to make sure that when I seal this, it actually takes the shape ASMR this video. I apologize. So I'm probably going to be posting my music video shortly. I've been kind of sitting on that one for a few weeks. I wasn't really sure it was good enough to present to you guys, so I'm going to give the final verdict this weekend, whether I need to re-record it or not, and then I'll probably end up posting it, and hopefully you guys like it and find it relaxing. But on a side note, I'm really excited to see so much ASMR. I mean, in the news, I go on random sites looking at random articles, and I keep seeing stuff about brain tingles and brain gasms and not cures, but treatments for insomnia, and it all points back to ASMR, and I think that's just amazing that it's getting such positive coverage. And on the internet you should never really delve into the comment section, but it's really cool to go onto these articles about ASMR in our community and hear about all the people. I've gotten those since I was little, when I was in school, and my elementary teacher would read, or sort things, or if I hear people in class whispering or playing with their hair or their pencil, or when my mom would read to me, all these little nuances throughout their lives where they never knew there was a word or a term for what they were experiencing, and to find out that so many other people experience it. It's a really cool, unifying, series of events, and it certainly makes me wish that I got tingles. But my friends and I used to do goosebumps, where you'd trace your fingers along someone's skin and give them goosebumps or chills. I always loved that as a kid, so that's close, I guess. So you know what, I'm gonna come back to this piece, but for right now, I'm just trying to line this up. I'm not sure what angle to come in at here. I don't think I'm gonna do a good job from that side, so I want a nice clean cut that lines up. Oh, that's not horrible. I guess that's okay. This is brand new, and boy does it smell. So, let's, I guess, move on to the next piece. So, I just need to figure out which one it is. And it's like I cut it out already. How to figure out which one it is. Nope. This is where this whole process starts to get tricky, when you start losing track of your pieces. I guess this is it. Oh. It would also help if I was looking at it right side up. Okay, so I was not looking at it in the right, I had it reversed. So these pieces are all tabbed, because you're supposed to glue the tabs together to make it a three-dimensional object and to give it support. Since I am not using tabs, I'm already using pieces that are three-dimensional in their own right. I cut these tabs out because I don't need them. Really, all I need is just the solid shape. I don't need the excess. So, really, I'm just gonna cut corners differently because again, they're expecting you to do this on paper, on cardstock. I'm going to bevel this side because I know this is going to be curved eventually, or it's going to become part of a curve. So it's kind of tough. You gotta like be very careful and just gonna cut. So it's on a diagonal. So this side's still straight and this side is now. But this side I'm gonna leave alone because it's just gonna be a straight piece. So now to apply. This glue gun uses a lot more glue. It's got a bigger nozzle, so I have to be mindful of that. So we just let that dry. It dries in under a minute. Not fully, but it cools and hardens. You should really leave it alone for a while. But just really quick, this is my old glue gun. It is destroyed. It is gross and covered in foam. These are only $3 at Michael's, but freaky story. I went to Disney World for like a week with my family last year, and something on my sandal broke, so I glued it really quickly before I left, and I never unplugged this. This thing was on for a week, and thank God nothing happened. I had a friend coming to watch my cat, so I'm sure they would have, they didn't even notice this was happening. And it's weird because I say friend, come to watch my cat, and he's my boyfriend now. Just goes to show you how things change. So yeah, my boyfriend came and watched my cat last year, before we were dating. We were still friends back then. And he didn't notice, and it's not his fault. I mean, this was laying on the floor in the corner of my room. I was so embarrassed when I came home, and I was really freaked out because this could have started a fire. However, thankfully nothing happened, and it was, it still worked after that. I was amazed. So these little $3 glue guns are really amazing, and they're very handy, but you gotta be careful with them because there's no on-off switch. You just plug it in and it turns on. So let's glue up the other side now. And I can see the glue is starting to melt and drip in the chamber, and that's not good. I can feel it's getting clogged already. Just gotta keep using it. And keep the glue flowing so that it keeps the nozzle and the glue chamber clear. So yeah. So it's not completely even like it should be, but I'm gonna take a glue gun, or I'm gonna take the heat gun and try to reshape it without reheating the glue and losing the sealing, the bonds that I've made. But it's going on my elbow, so it won't be that big a deal, I don't think. Glue, I have literally these heating gun is actually not really necessary. If you turn on your stovetop, you can actually hold a piece of foam over it and shape it over the flame. However, anytime you heat the foam, it stinks, and you don't want to be breathing all those fumes. I don't think they're super toxic, but it's just not a good idea. It really stinks, so I recommend the heat gun. It doesn't stink up the place like holding it over your stovetop. However, it is an alternative if you just need to do 1 or 2 pieces. So it doesn't necessitate going out and spending $20 on this. The foam mats again are pretty cheap at Home Depot, and they go a long way. Yeah. Scissors. Again. You can use the X-Acto knife. I prefer scissors. You get a much cleaner cut. But I am going to need a new pair soon. I've really worn down the blade. And, so that's really, rulers certainly help. If you're working with something that's not a Pepakura file, it's good to have a ruler to get some straight angles. I tried freehanding a few things, and it came out pretty awful. But yeah, this is of course just the start. I've got a long way to go. But ultimately, it's not super expensive. Ultimately, it's something you can do, and you can take your time. You can redo pieces as often as you need to. I'm giving myself about 1.5 years for this because, I'm making very slow progress. I only get to work on it a couple of hours a week. And I also want to add a light to the helmet. I want to add a voice modulator so that when I speak out of the helmet, it sounds like I'm actually speaking through a set of legitimate armor. And I also want to build the minigun, which is the rotating giant automatic that fires like a ridiculous amount of bullets. It's insane. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but obviously I can't have it fire real ammunition, so I think I'm just gonna build it to rotate and maybe install a little something that has a sound clip so I can press a button and the barrel starts rotating and it makes the sound like I'm actually firing it. I think that would be awesome. However, that's going to be a lot of work. I don't know. I don't have Pepakura files for that. I would have to freehand that, so I don't know if I'm going to go through with that, but ideally, I think it would complete the costume. So, so this will eventually be an armor. This is the arm, and this is eventually, I know this connects somehow. I need to build the top of this. This actually isn't done. But these pieces will all look pretty, they'll all fit together nicely once I have everything figured out. But, so, anyway, it was really great talking to you guys, and if any of you have questions, please let me know. I will direct you in I'll point you in the right direction of any resources I can potentially share. I have a lot of tutorials and great how-to and do-it-yourself YouTube videos bookmarked, so I would love to share those with you guys. I have another YouTube account, and I'd be happy to direct you there, where there's a whole playlist of creating armor and props and how to use foam, how to use the Dremel, how to paint and detail. You can use basic cheap acrylics on all this stuff once you seal it. It's great. So, again, I'd be happy to share any of the knowledge that I've built up over the last 2 years with you guys. And, you really can build whatever you want if you see a costume or a prop or a set of armor or a weapon. Anything in a video game or a movie or whatever that you'd like to have in real life or that you'd like to wear to a convention, you can enjoying some great weather. If you happen to be on the other side of the globe in a different season, regardless, I hope you're doing well. I hope the weather's nice. I hope you're able to stay relaxed and chill out and maybe fall asleep. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. To all my new subscribers, I recently hit 2,000 and I don't know, I think that's just mind-boggling. I didn't think it would happen, nor that it would happen so fast, so thank you guys for joining me, and I hope I can continue to make quality videos to help you relax and stay cool and maybe catch some